Hi everyone, I'm Dana with Anami Astrology, and I wanted to make this video for you guys about the current astrological energies and just overall kind of some things that are going on that's showing up for me in my readings, my sessions. We're in a really interesting wave right now, and I really couldn't feel it before the new moon. Sometimes I feel things as they're coming in, sometimes I feel them as I'm in them. It just depends on the energetic composition of everything. So, we are in Gemini season, and it's been all about duality. So, Gemini is really the sign of the twins, and the twins representing the right brain hemisphere and the left brain hemisphere. So, we are trying to consciously kind of merge the brain hemispheres. And the right brain is our intuitive nature, the left brain is our more linear or logical brain. So, as we've been in this Gemini passage, the new moon has really brought up a lot of scattered energies. And what I'm seeing is a lot of trickery. The Gemini is on one level the trickster because they are the mastermind, the eternal youth. They know how to play, and they're all about gathering information, and they don't really care about what that information is. They're just interested in kind of those rapid fire headlines, and then we'll come to making a decision later. That's more what Sagittarius does, takes the information that's been gathered and executes the plan based on the wisdom, that comes from gathering all this info. So we're working towards that full moon on the 17th. It's going to be at 25 degrees Sagittarius, which breaks down to a number 7, which is a really spiritual number. I mean, all numbers are spiritual, but 7 represents the core chakras in the body. And it also represents a theme of feeling balanced, of coming into self-discovery. So we're working towards this full moon. And right now things just feel really wild because we're not only experiencing these astrological energies, but also galactic energies. We are in a time where we are receiving these flares, these plasmic light waves that are coming into connection with the grid, with Earth, the grid of Gaia. So, to kind of put things into perspective, Uranus is the agent of change. He's the great awakener, he's the liberator. And he is in Taurus now, and he's here to stay for 7 years. The last time he was in Taurus was 1934 to 1942. So that was the Great Depression. Now, Uranus entering Taurus is a direct correlation to the earth. So Uranus rules things like sudden earthquakes, changes, natural disasters. So these things somewhat have been talked about that they may happen to the earth itself, but it's more so on a micro level happening to our world within, to our immediate world. So when we look at this theme in the span of Uranus and Taurus, we're really looking to see these sudden earthquakes in our lives, these upsets, these upheavals. And I've been pulling the Tower card the last 10 sessions I've had. I've been pulling the Tower card, which is, it definitely doesn't look pretty, but it's about change. And so Uranus is what rules our higher octave of Mercury. So in a sense, our nervous system has been so shaken up since we've entered Gemini season, because already Gemini is a fluttery energy, and Mercury has been in Gemini as well. And he just went into Cancer on June 4th. So we'll talk about that. But this is really a huge shakeup on our nervous system. So the anxiety has been out the roof, and I feel it too. But what I was trying to kind of mention is the trickery that's coming in our dreams, because the theme that we're healing duality, which it's kind of a subjective matter. Like, do we really ever heal it? Because we're in this evolutionary process of purging, of really kind of purifying, and this is happening on the subconscious level, on our mental body. So Gemini has an affinity for really being connected with the mind and not so much the body. So as we go through this passage up until the full moon, we're going to be having a lot of work going on in our mental body. And the key is to be discerning with the information that you are keeping in. If it feels good to take in, to keep in, it's like, okay, yes, I'm going to work with that energy, but to be mindful of the trickery that's coming in, which will be things like, I know that I've been shown in my dreams really old timelines to see if they can pull you back in. Timelines are, I'm sure you guys know, but they are definitely, they're almost like trajectories that you would be on if you were still engaged in a certain person, place, or thing, to carry out that timeline. So timelines are collapsing. That's what the Tower card really is about. So I'm pulling this card with pretty much everyone. Now, when we talk about the Tower, it's esoterically connected to Mars, and Mars rules the battle of Armageddon between the higher and lower self, because he's really at war with himself. He wants to really he wants to create this relationship where the ego serves the soul. And that's what we're in. And so we're battling all of our egos and the energies of them, their desires, their wants, because Uranus is really coming in, asking you to utilize your gifts and your talents to break free of the chains and structures that we self-impose. So I know I kind of seem all over the place, probably scattered. This Gemini energy makes me feel all over the place, but I do want to pull up the new moon chart and kind of talk about just these energies that we're in. The Tower card has a lot to do with removing anything that is inauthentic to your journey, to your trajectory. So in many ways, things are going to feel faded, that they just fall away. And that is because some things are faded, and we are living on a planet of free will. So we have the ability to bring that forward. We don't just sit back and allow life to happen, but it's a matter of how resistant we are to these changes that are coming. Now, before I pull up the chart, the major reason I wanted to make this video is because the word resistance keeps flashing in front of my mind with every session, with everyone I sit with, and also with myself. So resistance is when we are not in flow with what is. For example, 2 days ago, which was the 4th, that was a high energy day, a lot of productivity, creativity. It was an outward kind of yang energy day. And yesterday was the 5th, and it was more of an inward, more yin kind of day. So both of those energies, inward and outward, are needed to create the harmonies of unity. So Gemini is showing us that we need both to be in flow. And when we resist the other, we are essentially resisting a part of ourself. And that's what creates that separation. So imagine the ocean, which is a really great visual because we can see the waters of the ocean come forward, and it's like she's breathing out, and then she takes a breath in and breathes in, and we're not like, oh, hey, like, where did that wave go? It was here and I wanted to play in it. It's like, no, we admire that flow. And it's very much connected to our breath. Like, if we're shallow breathing throughout the day, we are not really feeding our body air. And in Gemini season, we are in an air season. So we have to consciously remember what we're putting into our mind with discernment, but we also need to consciously work on our breath, like the flow of the ocean, but in our breath work, and really coming back to our breath when we feel really scattered and not able to focus. Because I know that's the theme right now. That's Gemini. Gemini is the butterfly that wants to explore everything and just gather bits and pieces of information. but not necessarily like go deep with something. And that's okay, because we all have these 12 archetypes within us. So you can look to the house in your chart that Gemini rules, and you will see that that's the area that you might be scattered or having a hard time focusing, because this is a playful invitation, to work with things on a level that is light and youthful. So I know things can get really serious with these energies, and I'm somewhat guilty of that too, trying to figure out why I'm feeling this way, which takes away from just feeling what is. And that's what resistance is really here to teach us. When we are having a day that's an inward day, we really need to honor that. And I know that some of us have jobs that don't necessarily support us having an inward day, but to do the best you can, like put your headphones in and do a meditation on your lunch break instead of like sit with people and have lunch with them, or, do something that is more just for you. Because as we move into Cancer season, this is more of establishing boundaries with yourself so that you can be able to nurture your dream, support others, but you won't be able to do that until you nurture yourself. So I want to pull up the chart. So this is the chart for the new moon, June 3rd at 12 degree. This is really about new beginnings, setting new intentions. Every new moon is. But what's really kind of going on in this sense is we might not know really what we're setting our intention for because of this, back and forth waves of energy. So remember that Jupiter is also retrograde and will be until August 11th. So that's bringing us into this deep kind of communion with our soul, where we really identify and look at our belief system. We see what our belief systems have been built on, if those are still true for us. And this new moon supports us just being open, right, to taking new information in, even if it feels different than what we believe to be true. So it's a challenging energy, and it's definitely not going to go away for some time, because the energy of Jupiter is about finding your truth. It's really the vision quest. He wants you to expand your beliefs based on your experience. So no two experiences will be the same, because we all come in with our own lens of perception. And that's when I start talking about the ascendant sign and why it's so important. So the ascendant sign is almost like a lens of perception that you wear over, your vision, and everything is filtered in and out of that lens. And then Jupiter here, retrograde in Sagittarius, which is the sign of the sage, the philosopher, the truth seeker, this is really a time to expand inwardly. And this new moon supports just taking in information, acquiring it. You don't necessarily have to figure out if it's true right now, or if if it's going to establish the way you're going to be from here on out, because it's a light, fluttery energy, and it's more just back and forth of the right and left brain. So to be extra discerning with the information you take in, because when Jupiter does come out of his retrograde cycle, August 11th, there will definitely be more clarity with execution moving forward. And this is also a dreamy like place that we're in, because we have this gorgeous North Node trining Neptune. And this is all about just trusting and supporting the universe is going to provide you with what it needs, with what you need. So over here, we also have Chiron in Aries. So Chiron is the wounded healer, and he's all about anything that we have within ourselves, going in within the self, healing our identity, and really coming into a place where we love the things about ourselves, the flaws, the imperfections, coming into that place of really self-acceptance and self-validation. And giving that to ourselves is so important during this time, because the North Node is in Cancer. So she will be here. The North Node is our point of karmic growth, our collective destiny. And so she will be going into Gemini in about 16 months, which is the energy preview we're in now. So like as kind of all over the place as this energy feels, this is just a preview of what's coming. And it's really a purge on the mental body. And it comes out through our subconscious, through our dreams. And it can feel icky, you know, but remember, this is like not just this lifetime, these are lifetimes of purification, of cellular clearing. Our DNA is morphing from carbon to crystalline. Coming into a 5D reality requires this purification. So you might see things like rashes on your skin, body aches, extreme thirst, hunger, lack of appetite, just not wanting to read anything or hear anything, just be in silence. It's really about giving yourself what you need in any given moment and trusting that it is perfect for you. So the energy, the dreamy quality that we're in has a lot to do with Neptune. Neptune always wants to bring a little bit of confusion, deception. I don't want to say delusion because it's not really, that's not really the highest potential of Neptune, but it is there. So if you find like you're grabbing for drugs, for substances, even like overdoing it on earth medicines, like you are you're not having a healthy relationship with Neptune. That's what that would mean. Neptune wants to bring you to your soul-centered level. So when your creativity is stifled or you're not working with that ethereal creative place, that's where we'll grab for things like, oh, if I have that, I'll feel better. So that is the shadow vibration of Neptune. And with the North Node in Cancer and now Mars in Cancer, we have this trine going on. So we are fully supported to nurture our dream, to really go in and to feed ourselves that nourishment that we require to really grow and blossom. So be mindful of what you grab for, and if it correlates with an old timeline, because everything is energetic. So you have the potential to feed the new, which is what we're moving into with this new moon in Gemini, and really kind of taking the magician energy, right? We're tapping into all of our gifts that we innately have. Because in Taurus season, we're discovering what our gifts are. Like, oh, okay, like, I don't know, I can like run, I can jump, like I'm in this body, and these are the cool things I can do with it. In Gemini season, we're more so experiencing that a lot of our gifts are not necessarily from the physical, that we bring them forward with communication. You know, communication is one of our most powerful tools in expressing and giving information and really sharing what we all know, because we all have a different perspective. And Gemini is here to be like, yeah, each of us incarnated as source to be different. You know, we're not supposed to have the same perspective on everything. That's part of the playful energy of Gemini. You know, it's really, it's so multidimensional, like the diamond with all these different facets. Gemini teaches us we can see anything from any of those angles. Now, the soul ruler of Gemini is Venus. And I'm not going to get too much into that today. That's more like esoteric astrology. But the Lover's card is really connected to Gemini. This is where we sit with love, with openness in the energy of duality. So I know that sounds pretty tolerant, and we need to be in that space because we're still clearing and purging. So what someone thinks today, they might not even think that tomorrow. And what we're doing coming into this Lover's energy is giving that person the space to work out their clearing, to work out their thoughts. And so if you connect with a friend and you're not agreeing with anything they say and you feel like it's just not resonating, don't take it in. You know, imagine yourself in a pyramid that nothing can come in or out unless it's for your highest good. It supports your highest creative energy. So this is where the North Node in Cancer is like, support your boundaries. And the North Node looks like headphones. These are the things you want to tune into at any given moment. So the North Node is probably my favorite thing to talk about. Coming into the Lover's card is coming so deep into your own truth that you are not triggered or affected by someone else's. If you are still being triggered by what someone else is bringing up or bringing forward in conversation, you are not confident in your truth. That's all it means. That's all it shows. So it's an invitation to go in, to breathe, to really connect with what it is that is making you feel unsafe or, you know, not accepted. And this is why this passage is so wild, because we're being activated left and right, but mostly from the subconscious in our dream world. You know, that's what that trickery energy is of Gemini. So just be mindful and be extra discerning. This is really an interesting energy. I invite you also to shake up the energy. If you're like too focused and observing something that is, and it's not making sense, like put on your favorite song, dance, like move the energy. Energy needs to have motion. It's energy in motion, emotion. I know I sound like nuts right now, but like even just moving and imagining the energy just like leaving, going back to source to be sent back as creative energy, because energy cannot be killed or destroyed. That will really help you just shake things off. You know, we are essentially masters. We are the creators of our world. So if we don't want an energy on us, like really take a breath and see it going back to source, you know, and sent to be redirected as creative energy. These are just simple tools that we need to start using. And it's very much about being your own magician, pulling out any tool that you need. A lot of people are asking me, well, like, how can I do that? It's like, well, just the weird things that we feel called to do without rhyme or reason, like those are things that guide us to purifying ourselves. Like if you feel called to fast for a day or two, like that doesn't mean you have an eating disorder. It just means like you need to give your body a break. And sometimes by giving the physical body a break, we reset, you know. So there's a lot of information out there. What's right for me? How do I pick? How do I choose? And that's why astrology can be so helpful, because we can see where the North Node is, what house, the aspects it's making to your chart. And I always like to look at where Pluto and Saturn are in the chart right now. So I don't want to make this video too long, but this is really important. Pluto and Saturn have been kind of dancing around together for some time. So if you have a Capricorn rising or you are a Capricorn, these energies have been just giving you somewhat of a cosmic beatdown. The South Node is also in Capricorn. So what's happening here, this is happening anywhere in your chart. You can look to the house. You can look to see what planets they're on for you. And you'll notice Pluto he's going to tear down anything that's disempowering you, you know, and he's teaching you to surrender. His hands are up. He's like, I surrender. He's the higher octave of Mars. Mars is all about going out there, taking action, and being more so of expending energy. So he's a little bit more active and initiating. The higher octave of Mars is essentially Pluto, who knows that he doesn't need to go out there to get what he needs. He needs to surrender to what is. And that's why he's such a powerful energy and highly connected with Scorpio, because it's all about working with the energies that are coming up and surrendering and flowing with your own river. And if you're not, like, if that resistance is coming up, you are going against Pluto's influence in your chart. And so that will show up for you. Now, Saturn is right behind him, and he wants to rebuild what's being knocked down. So just trust that rebuilding energy will come forward. it's going to require a new level of personal responsibility from you. And also he brings up insecurity and doubt, because Saturn rules Capricorn. Capricorn's all about initiation, and it's about really climbing the mountaintop of soul growth. So this energy, to me, Pluto, Saturn, South Node, and Capricorn, it's excreting any of the Capricorn energy in your chart. On a macro level, this is the patriarchal system that's collapsing. So we're seeing that in the government. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about this. The 3D matrix system is collapsing. You know, we are leaving that, and we have been for some time. So as this happens on a macro level, it's happening on a micro level in your world. So that's why this energy is sensitive. It feels really personal. And as each of us works with this level inside of us, we are aiding in it on a macro level. So we're all doing this work, and I give you guys a lot of credit, because if you're watching this, you care and you're interested in, you know, in becoming the highest potential, you know, moving into that. And so this energy, Pluto, Saturn, South Node, is really the Devil card. The Devil card is traditionally connected to Capricorn. This is initiation of bondage. This is an earthy card. This is, you can call on Archangel Uriel to come in and help you remove yourself from things that you feel bonded to, that you really want to break free of. So the Devil card is not like satanic or anything like that. I'm not trying to bring you there. I know the Devil card has a lot of imagery, and it's connected to things that are like dark, essentially, just like the owl has been made to be a dark animal, which is, you know, that's a whole other story. So when we're talking about Capricorn, Capricorn is a theme of initiation, of constantly walking through the pillar doors and going to the next level through developing personal responsibility, maturity. Like Saturn's energy is to create a master out of you. So the challenges that are coming up during this time are very much connected to these energies of growth, you know. So this is Capricorn energy starts off as the mountain goat that climbs the mountain, and then it falls down, realizes it can swim in the ocean. So then it's the sea goat on the awakened level. And on the soul centered level, Capricorn is the unicorn. So we're moving into this energy, the Capricorn unicorn energy, but we have to allow what needs to fall. The Tower card is a blessing. So this is really, again, removing anything that is not of authentic benefit to your life, whether it's a person, a place, a thing. Uranus and Taurus, there could be some physical moving homes for fixed signs, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio. You know, Taurus rules things like our money, our home, our food system, the beauty industry. It's directly connected to the earth realm. So with Uranus in this sign, it's going to shake up all that stuff. And being in Gemini season, we're learning that the only constant is change, and to ever adapt. This Gemini energy is about being mutable, about being in flow, and not avoiding the resistance that's coming forward in all of us, because we're kind of focusing on this clearing and healing. Chiron in Aries is all about that full healing of the identity wound. And the Chiron will be here for, I want to say, like 12 years or so. His orbit is very unique. And, you know, this is really just, these waves will increase. The energies will get stronger the more we purify, so to speak. You know, a lot of people are like, how do I do that? A lot of it starts with your diet. A lot of it starts with removing toxins and chemicals from the food, you know, your toothpaste, even clean water, and really taking the time to honor exactly what you need in any given moment. The North Node in Cancer, I want to say, really supports feeding yourself nutritious food, learning to cook for yourself. I know it's hard for many of us to like garden, but to definitely organic, clean foods. So overall, this new moon is an opening, a passage to what's coming forward, some more clarity on the June 17th. We have now Mercury in Cancer. That was on the 4th. So with Mercury in Cancer, our minds are definitely in a more watery place. It's a little bit more dreamy, ethereal. It's hard to see what's next. It's hard to see what's coming forward because of the energy of learning to trust. And that's because of Neptune's trine right now to the to the North Node, also to the moon. And so there's this energy of like, I can't really see what's ahead. I just know it feels right and I have to trust. That's exactly where we're at. So this is what we're learning to settle into. I know that June 16th, there will be a trine between Jupiter, a square between Jupiter and Neptune. So that's more about feeling like you're not quite sure what you're feeling or thinking. So the linear brain, that's more of the left brain, is just slowly kind of deactivating because the matrix system is deactivating as well. And as we clear and heal and almost come to that 0 point field, we then merge our brain hemispheres and we can start to use them. Like, imagine the infinity sign, a gold infinity sign that's connecting your brain hemispheres. Anytime you feel confused in your own thought process, because that will really bring things, into perspective. And so it's not really a time of making major decisions, especially with like the emphasis of the trickery energy. It's more of relaxing into what is, the flow of what is. The Saturn Pluto energy is definitely going to be here until 2020. Saturn goes into Aquarius, which is, a lot of astrologers feel like that's the beginning of the age of Aquarius. Many of us think we're already in it. It's kind of hard to give an exact date, but there's many energetic reasons that things seem to be crumbling and falling, and that's why the age of Aquarius has been so talked about and written about, because it's a quantum leap in consciousness. It's a shift and a mass awakening. But first we have to let go of everything, basically everything, that we believe to be true. So that can look really somewhat painful, because change is always disrupting our nervous system. So the beliefs and the ways of being, they're changing, they're leaving. This is a release of pressure, and this ultimately is leading us into a beautiful time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope I didn't ramble too much. If you feel called to, do an in-depth session one-on-one, let me know. There's a link below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I love you guys. I hope that you are honoring yourself and what you need during these waves, and I will see you soon. Bye.